This is Things You Might Not Have Heard. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne. I'm going to present for you in moments yesterday's latest in information, politics, current events, and pop culture. We here are your go-to supplemental source for both mainstream and unconventional news stories at the Conversation Project, which hosts this thing, and things you may have missed because it's not necessarily mainstream, and also context you may have missed because is not exactly mainstream as well. We provide for you great stories that you actually help us work out. You vet the stories for every single broadcast we have here every single weekday morning. We will present for you 8 stories from top 15 per your engagement. We'll explain how that works out in just a bit, so hang tight for that. Give us 10, 12 minutes to give you the stories because you will love them. Followed by, there's a little salesy stuff happening, and of course, the fun stuff, the second show we have every single day, so wait for that. You'll enjoy that. Yes, one of the stories we're dealing with Britney Spears is the top story this morning, and it's not for great things, but 7 other stories that you told us were conversational, plus a little insight in between. Go to our website, thisisaconversationproject.com, for more details on how we do this every single day and all day, if you will, and just prepare for other ways to get this, including an audio podcast following, videos all the time, and just straight the links. If you want to get the links in the newsletter, we send it about 6:20 a.m. every central time every single morning. Let's get into the news stories for today. Today happens to be Wednesday, September 27, 2023. Here are 8 stories that you vetted as conversational, you vetted as good to go, that we pulled out for you to get in this newscast this morning as I present this live, 5:50 a.m. Central Time on this Wednesday. And we start right off the bat with Britney Spears, who sparks fan concern after dancing with knives. There was a whole lot of crazy going on in Britney Spears' life as we, the Britney Spears fans, were wanting her to have her freedom from her conservatorship of her father, essentially being under the thumb of him for 13 years. That's been done. That's far from over. She had a chance, or that is far over. She had a chance to be free, do more things on her own, get married, talked about having kids with a new guy. And then the bottom fell out, and things are just going to sort of nutballs pretty quickly. A video that she posted on social media has her dancing with knives, and another picture of her with a little wound, with a band-aid, cutting herself with the little weird knife dance. People are wondering what's going on. You can watch the video for yourself and see pictures of it at the link we have in our reporting from the New York Post and kind of judge for yourself what's going on. TMZ is saying that Britney Spears' ex-husband was basically afraid to sleep around her because she'd get mad and go evil on him, which is partly why they're getting divorced. We can't help but go salacious because the story is salacious. Your mileage may vary on it, but check out more details on the story because we'll get you more on Britney Spears. People care, so we keep talking about Britney Spears. In the meantime, striking Hollywood actors vote to authorize a new walkout against video game makers. The writer's strike is essentially over today after 5 months. The unions for the actors went on strike about a month afterwards, and they're still going against their corporate overlords, if you will. But they're adding a list to their corporate overlords to strike against, and that now being not just movie studios, but video game studios, because voice actors and a lot of CGI stuff and motion capture is done by real people. And so because of AI, because of various things out there, and you can now simulate voices and simulate actions without having so many people and have it still be fairly good, the writers are not fighting this right now, but the actors are looking to make sure that their rights for video games are protected as well. So an extra strike, if you will, added to the SAG-AFTRA Guild as they're going against video game producers and those guys to make sure that their rights, their likenesses are saved there as well. This one may be a long time coming because a lot of people basically call Amazon a monopoly in the marketplace, but the FTC in 17 states have finally officially sued Amazon. The online marketplace, as it says, it abuses its power. That's the Federal Trade Commission in 17 states sued Amazon on Tuesday, according to the retailer of suffocating, accusing the retailer of suffocating competitors. That's a word, and raising costs for both sellers and shoppers. This is not a secret. This is not something we don't know. This is why things like diapers.com doesn't exist, because Amazon was able to lower its prices to well below any profitability. The diaper seller, online retailer, had to go out of business, and then Amazon raised the price of diapers because they have a monopoly. They have the resources to do these things, and they do it fairly often, fairly in the public, and now we'll see with a lawsuit what's going on. Amazon worth about $1.3 trillion. We're going to see exactly how much money they'll have to peel off and whether they have to break up Amazon in some of the pieces as a result to sort of save itself from itself. Been a long time since it had a major antitrust thing. And the biggest one I remember, probably the biggest one in Time's history, was essentially the telephone, the Bell telephone, 18, which is now AT&T has all the smaller pieces. We'll see how this one plays out. Obviously, in court. Here's some good news. Hattie McDaniel, the first black actor to win an Oscar, will have her missing award replaced by the Academy. McDaniel was the first black performer to win a competitive Academy Award for acting and was seated separately from the film's other nominees in the segregated Coconut Grove Ambassador Hotel way back in the day. Of course, Gone with the Wind was the film she was nominated for, and there's a whole lot of things going along with that one. The award was a plaque that was given to Howard University upon her death in 1952, and it's gone. It's just missing. So Howard's going to get a new award from the Academy to replace that one, and that was presented to Hattie McDaniel going forward. Good news on that one as well. Guess what? She may have been waiting all day for Sunday night, but she's doing it on the couch apparently, because fans have learned that Carrie Underwood, who sings the opening night theme song for Sunday Night Football and NBC, been doing it for 11 years, hasn't been to a game in person in 10. She just doesn't go to football games. It's not that she doesn't go out and do stuff. She's not been to a serious football game in 10 years. Now, that mantle may be taken over as now Taylor Swift is now the darling of all NFL. Now that she's maybe dating Travis Kelce and is wearing gear for the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe she's a bandwagon fan. We don't know. But we do know that Carrie Underwood, who's famous for singing that Waiting All Day for Sunday Night song, and of course updating every week with little clips there for who's playing, isn't waiting all day for Sunday night in any stadium anytime soon. Apologies for that. Cassidy Hutchinson, I guess, getting everybody choked up with her new book called Enough. Basically saying she's had enough of what has been said about Donald Trump and her role in the insurrection and all the Trump craziness, and is giving the real spiel on her life. Basically starting off from childhood, how she got to be into the White House, how she got to be to Washington, how she was an idealist young woman who wanted to change the world, ended up taking a pretty powerful spot in the Trump White House and Trump administration, and how just insanity and hilarity ensued from there. Essentially going through the final days, the final months of the Trump presidency in its chaotic form. We know about the Rudy Giuliani groping thing because that's been all over the news as a teaser to get people to look for the book. We know now about Mark Meadows, her boss, burning a bunch of papers and doing a bunch of weird stuff, and apparently not knowing what White Claw was because he's old, I guess. But we know a lot going from the standpoint of a person who actually had a want to be a bigger political figure, who is now sort of like, yeah, I can't play with these guys anymore. These Republicans who are propping up Donald Trump, they know what they're doing, they know what's going on, and it's bad for everyone. She's still a Republican, but she's not backing Trump. We'll see how this one plays out, not so much in court, but in the court of public opinion for her, and of course in the court that is the voting boxes for all of us. Although right now it looks like Trump, who isn't even showing up for the debate tonight, still a landslide winner for the nomination for the Republicans. So this one isn't an update for this headline, but there are more things going on. This is a story that we got earlier in the day on Tuesday. Target to close nine stores, including 3 in San Francisco, citing theft that threatens shoppers and workers. This is a big deal, especially in San Francisco, a city that people think is so beautiful, is essentially rife with crime and rife with bad areas that you just can't deal with. You see various pictures on the news. You saw the CNN report where they're out there in the CVS and somebody rides in a bike, grabs some stuff and rides out because it's apparently that bad. The employees are not allowed to engage with the people because of safety reasons on their own, and so they just feel they can't do anything. Target closing 9 stores, specifically 3 in San Francisco in a bad area. Now, we will talk about later on the arrest from the looting that happened in New York City last night, going into the morning. I couldn't get a real good article on that, so I couldn't post that in the feed before I went to bed last night. But a rash of people looting stores in New York City, high-end stores, Apple stores, Lululemon. There was a lot of social media stuff, Lululemon folks grabbing stuff out of there as this is becoming a thing. The police there said this is basically a roving gang of folks that showed up. They used it under the guise of we were protesting something and maybe a riot came out. Apparently, no, it was people who showed up looking to loot, and some people who were nearby said, hey, let's loot too, because that happens. This is a national trend, unfortunately, that is getting worse and worse. There is no one's put out any real viable solution for any of this right now. We will see what's going on. And finally, we know how golfers, guys who sit at home and watch on high definition TVs can call in to the PGA while they're playing on tour and have shots pushed off because the look is so good. Apparently, a math enthusiast named Ilbehart Jurgski, butchered that, had climber Reinhold Messner's ruling of a Guinness World Record basically pulled because he saw that he was actually feet away from the summit of Mount Everest. He actually didn't get to the peak. He was, a mere 65 meters away. And that's not the peak. And so his Guinness World Record of climbing mountains now taken away based on a enthusiast map reader who is just sort of a dude, like, hey, I don't think he hit the right point. And someone said, no, I guess he didn't. It is gone. It is done. It is gone. Today's batch is for apologies, errors, and omissions other than a bit of a coughing fit. We're going to take a moment to acknowledge David McCullough, star of TV series The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and NCIS, who died recently at the age of 90. Not a lot of time to get that in there. Not one of the top 8 stories presented for you, but we just want to take a little chance to get that in there, that omission that we did not have, and one of the big stories to get that in there. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Mr. McCullough and all the family who've loved him as an actor, as a star for all these years. Let's talk about our teaser story for today, which is technically a story for tomorrow, and explain how the feeds work, how you gave us the stories we talked about right here. What you do is simply go to our feeds, our pages on Facebook and Twitter, and engage with the stories we post about every 50 minutes or so there on the sites. Like them, love them, hate them, share them. The more engagement story gets, the higher chance we have of talking about it. Tuesday through Friday, we talk about the top 15 stories, pulling 8 of them to pull into the ranks. On Monday, it's top 30 stories and 10 stories, and this is a story we may talk about. This was breaking news that I had to basically update before I actually went on, which is why I'm a little behind and a little slow getting things launched live on the air. The headline reads, and this is a story that I put out before that didn't get as much love as I thought it should: North Korea to expel Travis King over illegal border crossing. Travis King, the private in the Army who was being sent back to Texas after serving some time in South Korea and, of course, in the brig in South Korea, escaped, literally ran for the border to North Korea for safety. It took North Korea a month to admit that, oh yeah, we got this guy and he's running away from racism and all those things. And now they're kind of done with him because apparently not an asset. We won't get into that right now, but we'll get into that tomorrow. We'll go deeper into the story as this unfolds. It literally popped up about 10 minutes before we were going on live to record this. And so there will be more talk about what's going on and how this will actually work, as Travis King will be leaving North Korea because North Korea is going to get rid of him. This is a story we can talk about. If you bring it up, go to the feeds and look for it and engage in it. We will engage in it on Thursday. Let's talk about our title sponsor for the day, and it happens to be Blinkist. Blinkist is a great app for people who are looking to save time, save money, and get more knowledge. What Blinkist does is it takes great, big, detailed, good audio nonfiction books and autobiographies and breaks them down into blinks, into the real meat and potatoes of them. So a book that would take you about 4 hours to read on its own can be read in about 15 minutes, literally just like that. And not only can you read it, you can listen to it because they record all the blinks as well. It's audio books, it's video, it's reading books, and it's joint books. As if you have a Blinkist account, you can create what's called Blinkist Spaces and let other people who don't have Blinkist access to those blinks, access to those books, and you can have book clubs on the short books. Blinkist is an app that will save you time, save you money, and of course, get you some knowledge very quickly. Books read in mostly about 15 minutes. Also podcasts and other things as well. Check it out at thisistheconversationproject.com/Blinkist. This is theconversationproject.com/Blinkist, Blinkist. This is an affiliate link, so if you get the app and install it and use it for a week, we get a little bit back as a commission. We thank you so much for joining us. This is something that is crucial to my life, as I listen to at least 2 books a day because I have Blinkist. It is that crucial, it is that great in my life. It will change your life and your learning quickly. Now, let's talk about us and the Conversation Project. It lives online at thisistheconversationproject.com, where you can find all this stuff. I do this live at every single weekday morning from 5:50 till about 5:16, 5:20, going forward. So you have that in your wallet to tune and listen to. If you want to wait a little bit and get it, it's an instant replay on Facebook and on YouTube, so follow us there as well. If you want to just listen to the audio podcast, subscribe to the podcast and find the links in our newsletter so you can just listen to audio. We'll trim this down, and about 10 minutes after we're done, you get the audio. If you just want the links, we set the links aside ahead of time, so about 6:50 they get posted in newsletters and at our website, so you can get a hold of those. That's how we give you this news every single weekday morning. You can get it those ways. You can also get other things we have, including the weekly wrap-up and small little snippets we have in YouTube and TikTok shorts with news vignettes popping up here and there. We ask for you to go to the feeds and tell us what to talk about. That's how we know what to talk about. Literally, you tell us what stories are more engaging. We do that. You go to your email and email us at theconversationinbox@gmail.com and tell us how we're doing. Give us the ups and downs about what we're actually doing, performing wise. And if you think we're doing a fairly good job, go to our partnerships page and see if there's a way that we can group together and join like Voltron to vanquish and defend the universe, vanquish the evils out there in space, and fly big space dragons and tigers, because they're kind of awesome. We thank you in advance for any help you want. We thank you in advance for just stopping by and being a part of the show and just watching and listening, because that is the most important thing. Make sure you're being engaged with the Conversation Project. And as we promise every single day, the fun stuff, the second show, if you will, every single day after all of the news and all the salesy stuff. And that second show will begin right now. The Conversation Project second show always begins with the fun stuff, always begins with birthdays, and September 27th, no exception. Starting off with rapper Lil Wayne, and I don't know why I left rapper in there in the clip, but he's a rapper, he's Lil Wayne, and he's 41 years old on the day. Avril Levigne is with you, with me, with all of us, and she is 39 years old today. I can assure you, she is not a clone. She is not somebody who's been a body double. She's actually Avril Levigne. Just go with it. And Jenna Ortega, who is all sort of hot these days, starring in Wednesday and just doing the stuff. She is 20 years old on this September 27th. Our history lesson for this morning begins in 1950. So way back on the 27th of September in 1950, the answering machine was invented. Now, no one really has an answering machine anymore because the machine part is unnecessary, but we still have voicemail, which was the precursor of what's going on. Of course, answering machine was literally a cassette deck that played a tape for your message going out when the phone rang and used the tape to record your messages. And back in the day when answering machines worked, you can literally screen your phone calls and listen for people to say, yo, pick up the phone. Yo, I know you're there. Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. And then you can choose to pick up the phone or not. In 1998, Google was founded. Google, the large part of Google, which was essentially the search engine back in 1998. So a pre-Y2K thing was the original Google. Now Google is not quite Skynet, but it's fairly close. And it's overtaking everything we do, including how we actually activate and use things and literally talk into the phones that don't have answer machines anymore. In 2004, NBC announced that Conan O'Brien would take over for Jay Leno in the Tonight Show in 2009. And we kind of know how that played out. He took over Jay Leno, and then he didn't. Let's move on to our celebration for the day. On this 27th of September, we are going to celebrate chocolate cows because that's the source you get your chocolate milk from. We all know this. Chocolate milk is the more superior milk because it's chocolate in it. It just is. Chocolate milk is the better milk. Now, if you're eating cereal, yeah, chocolate milk gets a little messy, but chocolate milk is the better of the choices, which is why so much more is sold on top of other. Now, you can try other milks. There is strawberry milk. You can attempt other types of milks, but chocolate milk rules the day all around. So today, being Chocolate Milk Day. Even if you're an adult and don't have to go to the cafeteria, stop by your local convenience store and look for a thing of Nestle Quick, the Quick Shakes, and get a chocolate one. Get a strawberry or vanilla if you want to. But hey, today is all about chocolate, so give chocolate milk the respect it deserves. And finally, one more thing you might not have heard is the average adult feels lonely for 7 days out of a month, and 1 in 3 describe ourselves as socially isolated. A typical adult has just 2 people they feel they can truly confide in. The good news, pets appear to make all these things better, with 21% of those with cats and dogs said they were lonely compared to 32% of those without pets. So it's slightly better. 6 in 10 even went as far as to describe their pets as their closest companion, which a lot of people who call their pets, for babies, literally treat them like babies and like they're actual people. So if you're feeling lonely, a pet may help just slightly, but it's not a outlier if you're an adult and you feel like you don't have a lot of close companionship. You should work on that, but remember, don't feel bad if you feel like you're socially isolated, because many of us may not admit it out loud, but we feel that we are. With that, we feel that we are done with today's edition of Things You Might Have Heard for Wednesday, September 27, 2023. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne, and I thank you so much for being a part of the show we do here on weekday mornings on the internet. Find us online at thisisaconversationproject.com. Stop by our partnerships page if you think we are well enough to partner up with. Start by our sponsors page, and you see if some of those guys are good to partner up with as well. And make sure you're following us on the feeds on Facebook and Twitter so that we know what to talk about tomorrow and the next day. And tomorrow, the next day, is Thursday. So right now, there are stories waiting for you to engage in to tell us what to talk about. Go check them out. Make sure you're staying limber, staying hydrated, and staying on task for all the grand things we need you. The world needs you here for. We need you here. Trust me. And just get ready for a great Wednesday if you're watching this live or early, or prepare for a great rest of your week, and definitely prepare for a Thursday. Another edition of Things You Might Have Heard is coming soon.